health savings accounts are pretty great, but there's lots of nuances that are associated with them. Just like with everything, am I right? And that's why I wanted to share these 6 very magical benefits of an HSA that you might not even know about. Make sure that you stay to number 6, because number 6 can be very detrimental to your financial independence plan if you are unaware of this particular nuance of the HSA. But first, let's start with number 1, which is also very important, and that is known as the last month rule. Did you know that if you open up an HSA, you become eligible for the HSA on the last month of the previous year, you can go ahead and contribute to that entire year. So here's a realistic example for you, since I like talking about financial independence. So step 0, you become financially independent. And then you go ahead and move. You do geographic arbitrage. You move to a new location now that you're 5. Then in that case, you qualify for what's known as a special enrollment. As long as you don't have any other health insurance, you can qualify for a special enrollment through healthcare.gov. And then let's say you plan on getting your health insurance through healthcare.gov. And then on December 1st of 2021, you're now enrolled in a high deductible health plan and you have a health savings account. Cool, right? You just got it at the end of 2021. But did you know that due to the last month rule, you can contribute to all of 2021's HSA year, even though you got it at the last month, because you got it by December 1st of that last month. So this means that you can contribute your maximum to 2021 HSA, and then when January rolls around, January of 2022, you can go ahead and start contributing to 2022's tax year as well. And this is known as the last month rule. Now, there is one more thing you do need to know about the last month rule, and that is that you must stay eligible for the next entire 12 months. So for example, if you did become eligible on December 1st of 2021, then you're gonna have to remain eligible for the HSA for the next 12 months. I think through the entire December of the next year. In this case, it would have been December of 2022. By now, you should have seen an example that popped up on here directly from the IRS. And basically the magic of the last month rule is that you can contribute to the HSA for the entire year as long as you remain eligible for an entire year going forward from when you first became eligible. And so this is pretty cool. This is a really cool way that you can actually get money into an HSA, even if you didn't have it for the entire calendar year when you first started enrolling. Number 2 has to do with inheritance. So no one likes to talk about their own demise, but it is going to happen for us. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's talk a little better. Okay, so HSA inheritance. When you pass away, as they say, you go ahead and inherit most of your stuff to other people. In many cases, if you're married, it's going to go to your spouse, and that is a good thing for the HSA. Your spouse then inherits. Your spouse then takes on that HSA, and that HSA becomes their HSA, and that is good. There's no tax consequences or anything, so it's just treated as theirs now. However, if you go ahead and pass away and you pass on your HSA to a non-spouse, then you have a little bit of a tax problem there. And that's because the HSA then basically transforms into a regular taxable investment account. And then all of those assets in there then become taxable income to the person that inherited it. How do you say that word? Inherited it. I don't know. But basically the person that takes it on, if it's not your spouse, they're going to get taxed on all that. So if you left them $100,000 in your HSA, boom, they're going to get $100,000 of taxable income. And so if you really care about that, once you are, beyond the grave, if you still care about that, then that is not good. So you might want to try to figure out a way in order to not make that happen if you are going to pass your HSA on to a non-spouse. Number 3 about the HSA is also pretty crazy, and I don't really hear too much of it, and that is that you can actually contribute to your HSA with unearned income. Unlike like a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA or 401k or whatever, you don't actually have to have earned income, which means that you can contribute to it with any kind of income. So if, for example, if you're financially independent, you might not even have any earned income. You might not have a job. You might not even be self-employed, but you might have rental properties, but you might have money, sitting in high interest savings account making, a good amount of interest or something like that. You might have other income sources that are unearned income, as they say. And if you were in that situation, if you are financially independent, then technically you can't put that money into like a regular individual retirement account because it's unearned. But with an HSA, you don't have to have earned income in order to contribute to it. And as we all know, the tax benefits of an HSA are really good. And so you definitely want to put money in an HSA if you are eligible. And the good news is you don't have to have earned income in order to do it. Next up at number 4, a really awesome thing that has to do with HSAs is their income phase-outs, because there are no income phase-outs. So unlike many other accounts that we have access to, you do not get phased out. Whether you make $10,000 per year, $100,000 per year, or $1 million per year or more, you can contribute to your HSA and you can get a tax deduction for it. Yes, even the richest man in the world, Mr. Jeff Bezos, he can, if he has an HSA and he contributes to it, he can get a tax deduction for his HSA. It doesn't matter what your income is. There is no phase out with HSAs, and that is really, really cool. And another thing that is really, really cool is if you go ahead and hit the like button on this video. I don't know, I was trying to do something different. Because if you're enjoying this video so far, please make sure you like it and you give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out and I really do appreciate that. Now let's go ahead and move on to number 5. Number 5 is pretty cool as well, as they all are. Number 5 has to do with employer contributions to your HSA. So, did you know that employers can contribute to an HSA, if you have it through your employer? Well, they can. Now here is the kicker. Do people still say that? Here's the cool thing about it. If your employer contributes to your HSA, it is not counted as taxable income for you. Just as if you contributed to your own HSA, you can get a tax deduction for it. If an employer, if they contribute to your HSA, you do not pay any kind of income taxes on that. That is not counted as part of your salary. And the reason why that's pretty cool is that, let's say for example, this is what I imagine in my head. You go into your employer and you ask for a raise. And you get the raise, right? Let's say, I don't know, $2,000 per year, something like that. I don't know. Let's say you get a $2,000 per year raise and you're like, hey, this is cool. I like this raise, but how about for the raise, you put that money directly into my HSA instead of pay it to me? And that way, you do not get any additional taxable income. Instead, the employer contributes to your HSA for you, that $2,000, and you wouldn't have to pay any additional taxes on that $2,000. Now you have an extra $2,000 from your regular pay that you can go ahead and do other things with on your own. You can go put it into any different kind of retirement account if you want to, and invest it in something else, or you can go spend it, whatever you want. But so I think that would be a pretty cool scenario. So employers, if they contribute to your HSA, it doesn't get counted as taxable income. And next we have number 6, and I promised you number 6 could be very, very detrimental if you are unaware of it. Number 6 has to do with non-qualified distributions from your HSA. So yes, you can take money out of your HSA for any reason that you want to, but it is definitely ill-advised because you will pay a lot of taxes and penalties on that amount. Unless, of course, it was for your qualified medical expenses, which it's designed to do, right? So we all know about that. But let's say that you just want to go take out money and buy a new car, and you're under the certain age. We'll talk about that in just a second. But if you're like, let's say 40 years old and you want to go and buy your midlife crisis car. Okay, sorry. You want to go buy your new car. You don't take the money out of your HSA because not only will you owe income taxes on that amount because you should have gotten a tax deduction before, so you'll pay regular income taxes on it, but they also have a 20% penalty that they're going to assess on you for taking money out of your HSA for no good reason. And no one wants to pay a 20% penalty, and that's way worse than if you were going to take it out of a a traditional IRA. So in this scenario, if you're going to take the money out of your traditional IRA without any of the magic tips that you can do it without paying the penalty, but if you're going to actually pay the penalty, it's only 10% if you take it out of your regular IRA. HSA is 20%. And so you definitely want to avoid that. And then another thing is that once you reach a certain age, you can start taking money out of your HSA, even if it's not for qualified medical expenses, but then it's going to be taxed as regular income, just like a traditional IRA. So a lot of people like to compare that as like a backup traditional IRA. But the difference is, for a regular traditional IRA, you can take money out of it starting at age 59 and a half. Yes, I don't know why 59 and a half, but at 59 and a half, you can start taking money out of that regular IRA and you'll just pay your income taxes on it, but no 10% penalty. With an HSA, a similar thing occurs, but not until you're at age 65. So that's an additional 5.5 years, right, that you can start doing that and kind of treating it as a traditional IRA. But before that, if you don't have any qualified medical expenses, if you don't save your receipts and have qualified medical expenses, a non-qualified distribution from an HSA could subject you to income taxes and a 20% penalty, and I do not want that to happen to you. But one thing that I do want to have happen to you is I want you to watch a video on a full guide to getting started on the path to financial independence. I put together that video, and if you haven't watched that already, you definitely need to watch it because it will get you ready and get you started and motivated on the path to financial independence. Thank you so much for watching this video, by the way. I'm Zach from OnCashflow.com, and I hope to see you next time.